A warm welcome to our viewers joining in Rome and elsewhere in Europe on ABN Television. This is a primetime news bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV. In this edition, Commercial Drivers Union GPR2 asks members to park their vehicles in solidarity with organized labor as more groups join Thursday's massive nationwide demonstration to protest harsh economic conditions. The police, meanwhile, say they will hold organizers responsible should anything go wrong. Vice President presents implementation plan for Senchi consensus to President Mahama, who has pledged to ensure it is executed to the letter. Economists challenge claim redenomination of the Ghana cedi in 2007 is to blame for rising inflation. And Reed laying ceremony and public lecture to be held to mark second anniversary of the death of President Mills. We also have coming up in business the implications of the one-day industrial action on the country's GDP, sports, showbiz, and international news in the next 60 minutes. Do stay tuned.
News at 8 with Israel Lai.
In our very first story, the Trades Union Congress is urging all unionized workers to join Thursday's nationwide demonstration to protest the harsh economic conditions in the country. The TUC Secretary General Kofi Asamoah tells Joy News the industrial action dubbed We Are Suffering is to be held simultaneously in all 10 regions. It will be the first of its kind in decades.
Kofi Asamoah, in an interview with Joy News, dismissed reports the demonstration is politically motivated, explaining the current state of the economy as enough motivation.
You know, organized labor and these leaders are really mature and appreciate what the situation is. It doesn't need any politician to motivate us into doing that. The frustrations, and if you take the issues that I've raised, they are real concerns of workers. So I think that statement should be treated with contempt and dealt with it the way it's thrown somewhere. There's no politician who will have to tell us if the face values of our incomes have chiseled out. We don't need a politician to tell us, and we are really beyond the kind of thing that anybody can suspect that what we are doing is politically motivated. I can say with every level of confidence and statement that there is nothing of that sort.
He urged the public to join in the demonstration since it was in the interest of all workers in the country.
We've been engaging government over the period, over the issues, but just because we've come to where we find it very difficult to contain, and as I stated earlier, there's a limit to what we can contain. We are entreating and inviting all workers to participate, both formal and informal. We are equally also inviting the general public who are also feeling the pinch of the economic hardship that we're talking about to join us in at least demonstrating our frustrations.
The Accra leg of the nationwide demonstration is expected to start at 8 a.m. from the Obra spot at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle and will last for about 4 hours.
Now, Thursday's nationwide demonstration by organized labor has been endorsed by a number of groups and associations. Apart from labor unions such as the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana and the Ghana Medical Association, which has asked its members to join, organizers of the Occupy Flagstaff House demonstration on July 1 say they identify with industrial action and are encouraging as many Ghanaians as possible to protest. Now, the Ghana Private Road Transport Union has just announced their members are to park their vehicles in support of the protest. Musica, in a news release, has also endorsed the call to protest. Out there on the streets, workers Joy News has been speaking to say they will stay away from work in compliance with the call to strike, with others indicating they will actually hit the streets.
I think we need, or I need to partake in it if necessary, because I just checked the rates. Abide said about the economy. we were talking about the economy. And if I check the dollar rates, I check the dollar, I check the pound, and I check the euro. I wanted to buy something on net just Friday, and just this morning I check, and I need to pay about 5 more cedis. So if that will bring something that will make the economy at least better for us, it's good. So if that will help, we will partake in it.
It's a good idea for them to go, because looking at the time, things are not going on well, and I think we should do something as a country to let people see that all that the government is doing is not good.
The system is so bad, and we have been talking. Anything you say, they use something to negate whatever you are saying. People are suffering. We are also in it. And so when persuasion fails, force is applied. When a whole nation, for example, all the workers does not go to work, it will surely affect the government.
So I'm in support for the demonstration. They need to go for the demonstration so that we will all benefit from that. So they need to go. I'm in support.
Right, we've had our correspondents across the country to also assess the mood and preparations and if people are actually eager to go out to join the demonstration. I'm joined on the phone line now by Rafiq Salam from WA in the Upper West region. Good evening to you, Rafiq. What can you tell us? Does it appear that there's support for this nationwide demonstration in the Upper West region?
The situation in the Upper West region is not different. Organized labor said that they will hit all streets in the WA municipality to also announce their presence and also announce the hashes that they think that they are currently. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening to you, Rafiq.
They are currently wallowing in. And so they said they are set for the march for the demonstration tomorrow. I spoke to the police and then the WA Municipal Police Commander, DSP Stephen Ananeteta. He told me that over 200 policemen have been brought from the other districts to lead the police in this demonstration tomorrow.
All right, thank you very much. That was Rafiq Salam in WA in the Upper West region. We're going over to Mohammed Nuruddin. He's standing by in the Ashanti region in Kumasi to be precise. Good evening to you, Mohammed Nuruddin. What can you tell us about the situation in the Ashanti region?
Good evening, Israel. All is set for tomorrow's demonstration in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, and some members of the various unions are telling me they would honor a call by their leaders to embark on the demonstration. Unfortunately, Israel, I have not got the expected number of people to join tomorrow's demonstration, but what I'm gathering is that since the organized labor is made up of about 70 unions, including NAT and Coalition of Concerned Teachers, leadership are expecting a huge number of people to honor this demonstration tomorrow. And what is going to happen after tomorrow is that the various union would now turn onto other issues which are peculiar to them after tomorrow's demonstration for government to address them, Israel.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much, Mohammed Nuruddin. William Benjamin Peters is also standing by in Takrady in the Western region. Good evening to you, William. What can you tell us about the situation?
Good evening, Israel.
Yes. What's the situation like? Or what's the mood or what's the level of support for this demonstration?
Yeah, Israel, all is set for tomorrow's demonstration. And earlier on, I spoke to the regional secretary of the TUC, Mr. Elisanku, and according to him, they will converge at the Takrady Jubilee 30 a.m. tomorrow.
I seem to have lost William Benjamin Peters. But William, if you can hear me, you were making the point about where, okay, we have lost William Benjamin Peters, but we have Komla Ado. He's standing by in Ho in the Volta region. Good evening to you, Komla. Is the situation any different in Ho?
Well, it's the same. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, it's coming on live tomorrow. Scheduled to start at 8 a.m. They will converge at the Civic Center through the Gay House, through the Akwa roundabout to Plyland Street, and then to the Whole Municipal Hospital. And the whole thing will end at the Volta Regional Coordinating Council, where they will present a petition to the regional minister.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Komla Ado reporting from Ho in the Volta region, and we'll keep you posted on the developments across the country. We have correspondents all over the country, and we'll bring you details of the demonstration and how they pan out tomorrow. Meanwhile, the police say they will be holding organizers of Thursday's nationwide demonstration accountable for any mishaps on the day. Police PRO DSP Cephas Arthur, in an interview joining you, said even though the police will do its best to protect the protesters and the general citizenry, the organizers are expected to fulfill their obligations as agreed.
Acting Director of Public Affairs, DSP Cephas Arthur, said much as the police were constrained, they will provide the necessary security on the day.
When you organize a demonstration and you lead a mass of people, you put yourself in an accountable position. So should anything go amiss, you can't be held responsible. You can't be held accountable for whatever goes amiss. We don't expect that it will degenerate into anything. We expect that the organizers are responsible citizens of the nation. They are good citizens, and for that matter, they are going to ensure that they live by the tenets of the Public Order Act 491, which enjoins organizers of such events to ensure that they manage their following very well so as not to record any untoward activities.
He added the police administration has put in place measures to ensure a peaceful event.
Would have preferred that they staggered it or handle over the demonstration. And because we are duty bound, we are mandated to protect such events, we cannot renege on our responsibilities. We have to carry out our mandate. We have been putting measures in place. We have been getting ourselves ready for this period. So now we are ready to police the demonstration within our means, within our constrained means, as we communicated earlier.
Vice President Kwesi Bekwai-Mensah has presented the final report from the Senchi Accord to President John Mahama with a justification for the delays. At a brief ceremony at the Flagstaff House, President John Mahama said he will ensure the recommendations are implemented to prevent a recurrence of the country's economic woes.
I formally present a copy of the report to you, Mr. President, as the culmination of the work that was done both in Senchi and after Senchi. There have been quite a number of criticisms from the media and from other people about the delay in the presentation of this report. The critical aspect of the report was not just in packaging it for reading, not something that was going to be done from the government side. We needed to maintain the involvement of the participants of the process, and we tried, as we got along, to get them to read the reports as they were being finalized.
Vice President Kwesi Arthur catalogued developments post-Senchi, including the Bank of Ghana's review of its forex measures, which he says were informed by the recommendations.
But even as we prepared the report, the government agencies were not idle. On 16 June, the Bank of Ghana formally reviewed the notices that it had issued on the 4th of February. Last week, on the 17th of July, the Finance Minister presented the media review, and in it, he revised some of the macroeconomic objectives to more realistic targets, and to ensure that these will be achieved and that the credibility will be restored to the budget process.
He said a crucial aspect of the report was participatory implementation, hence the establishment of an advisory committee to oversee the process.
This spirit of participation is captured in the formation of what we call the IAG as a public interest body to ensure the participatory oversight on the implementation of this report. We also developed an implementation matrix to guide the members of the group. Our hope is that with the presentation of the report today, it will become a turning point in the economic management of this country, where we seek broad participation in the major objectives and we go forward as a nation.
President John Mahama said the delays were to ensure accuracy and pledged a successful implementation of the report.
Because it's taking a lot of pains to ensure that the report accurately reflected the sense of what happened at Senchi. And so I think that even though it's taking some time, the quality of the work that we'll see in this report will justify the long waiting period that Ghanaians have had to exercise. I'm enjoined as President to provide a national development framework to Parliament before the end of this year. And the NDPC and our team are busy working on this framework. And I wish to assure the country that the discussions at Senchi would be a very, very distinct flavor in the kind of development framework that we intend to present to Parliament. I want to say, going forward, Senchi would strengthen our economic management. I want to thank everybody for the work that they did and to assure the whole country that we would implement this report.
A minute silence was held in honor of late presidential advisor Paul Victor Obeng, who is said to have played a pivotal role in the Senchi Accord. The Senchi Accord was necessitated by the series of economic challenges facing the country. Experts from all facets of society, including opposition party representatives, were invited in May this year to propose measures to help stabilize the economy. After a long wait, the much-anticipated Senchi report is now out. What people are critically concerned about is about the implementation and how fast that implementation will yield results. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Flagstaff House.
In other news, the Consultant and Specialist Forum, a group of senior medical practitioners at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, are demanding the dissolution and removal of the entire board of the hospital. The group, in a petition to the president, say the request is informed by recent developments at the hospital. They say require immediate intervention to save it from collapse. I'll read you excerpts of the document signed by Professor Kobna in Cheche and about 30 others, and it says, we, the undersigned consultants and specialists of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, have come to the decision that drastic action is needed to save our hospital from further decline. And it goes on, the recent revelations by COSA, or the Kolebu Teaching Hospital Senior Staff Association, our own investigations as well as experience in the various departments of the hospital have clearly shown the need for intervention. We have therefore resolved the following. We have no confidence in the current chairman, Mr. Edward Annan, the board of directors and the acting chief administrator, Reverend Upoti Boche. They should be replaced immediately with persons whose primary objective is to establish a well-run hospital that provides excellent care for patients, good facilities for clients, and fair rewards for all staff and management. 2, a substantive chief administrator of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital should be appointed within 3 months of the date of this letter as a matter of urgency. We have noted with great concern that the hospital has been without a substantive chief administrator since Professor Ni Otu Nate took accumulated leave in 2012. Now, the third item is that the main departments of the hospital be accorded greater financial autonomy to enable effective discharge of their responsibilities. It goes on all the way about 11 items. The 11th one, it says there's a general and palpable apathy in the hospital which stems from the long-held view that the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital is insensitive to the health and other needs of its staff. The board and chief administrator should establish better communication with staff and improve working conditions, in particular healthcare, when staff are in need. So there's a few of the issues that the Korle Bu senior officers are demanding. We're taking a break now, but we have more stories coming up. Do stay tuned. Thursday, July 24, 2014 marks exactly 2 years since the death of Ghana's third president under the Fourth Republic, Professor John Evans Atta Mills. A wreath-laying ceremony at Asumdwe Park, where he was interred, and a public lecture in his honor have been scheduled to commemorate the day, which also coincides with a nationwide demonstration by labor groups. Former communications director at the presidency and aide to the late president, Koku Anyidoho, had hoped the demonstration would have been moved to honor the memory of his former boss, but that didn't happen. He's ever hopeful Ghanaians will pay homage nonetheless.
When the news team visited the Asumdwe Park, the facility was being readied for the wreath-laying ceremony. Koku Anyidoho, member of the planning committee for the second Atta Mills Memorial Lectures, talks about the activities planned for Thursday.
Oh, last year was a bit more of a high thing. You know, the hype, the pomp and pageantry was a lot. This year is a bit of a low-key. Tomorrow we are having the remembrance and wreath-laying ceremony here at the Asumdwe Park. You can see that we are almost ready for it, and that's at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then at 3 o'clock we'll have the second memorial lecture at the College of Physicians and Surgeons, and Dr. Chambers will be delivering the lecture, will be the main speaker. Yeah, so that's it for tomorrow. We have made a moral appeal to Comrade Kofi Asamoah and his group that tomorrow is 24th, and if they find space in their heart, they should allow it to pass. We hope they will. If they don't, this event will still come on, both will still come on.
He said the family of the late president appears to be coping with the loss, but will not comment on whether they are being adequately supported by the state.
We are all remembering President Mills because while here, he did what he had to do. It's up to you and I to also do what we have to do, what we have to do properly. So when we are no more, people will also remember us positively. So he's gone, we are remembering him. We will continue to do so in the years ahead. Until Nandu is fine. The son Kofi just left here. Kadman is around. So the family is doing fine. And
Professor John Evans Atta Mills became president in 2009 after narrowly winning a runoff vote, having unsuccessfully run for the top office in 2 previous elections. Before his political career, he taught at the University of Ghana and also was a visiting lecturer at Temple University in Pennsylvania and Leiden University in the Netherlands. Mills's death came a few days after he celebrated his 68th birthday. It was the first time in the history of Ghana that a president had died in office.
Vice President Kwesi Bekwai has called on the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center to develop strategies to help deal with the upsurge in terrorism, especially in the sub-region. He was speaking at the graduation ceremony of some 70 participants in the center's peace and security programs.
We have to support the work of the National Accreditation Board to better regulate the sector, to maintain best practice and ensure compliance with international standards. Through the Ministry of Education, government policy on education will continue to support both public and private tertiary institutions that seek to foster the vision of extending quality education to all our citizens. The Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center continues to be one such public institution, and it complements the work of government by providing education in peace and security.
The joint graduation program celebrates 70 students from 8 different countries who have graduated from courses in Masters of Arts in Conflict, Peace and Security and Master of Arts in Gender, Peace and Security. The studies are to provide knowledge in causes, management and preventive measures of conflict as well as gender-based issues. Japanese student Kanako Ishiyama was overall best student for MA in Conflict, Peace and Security, whilst overall best student for MA in Gender, Peace and Security went to Nigerian student Ugonna Okaigwe.
We have been exposed to those things that are likely to trigger conflict, as well as the negative impacts of conflict on our society. Example, the Liberian and Sierra Leonean experiences are a case in point. We have also been equipped with the skills for conflict resolution, management, prevention, among others. Specifically for the MGPS class, we have been trained to view all situations and circumstances with gender lenses. Most importantly, we have learned how the neglect of one gender impacts on the socioeconomic development of our nation.
Vice President Emisa Arthur said government will continue to support educational institutions, both private and public, to deliver on quality education.
South Africa is currently confronting challenges by people who, through the force of arms and various acts of terror, are seeking to impose their worldview on others. In the last quarter century, our sub-region has experienced extraordinary war and conflict. We therefore committed to resolving our problems without resort to warfare. Our societies have begun a long process of recovery from war, and we have started to enjoy a peace dividend.
Earlier, the Vice President cut sword for the commencement of a new academic and office block for the KAIPTC. Vice President of Research at the Kennesaw State University in the United States of America, Dr. Charles Amlana, pledged a lump sum to the new facility.
Because of KAIPTC's long-term commitment to empowering and professionalizing women in peacekeeping, today I am committing $15,000 matching funding from KSU's Graduate College Training Budget to help spearhead a new KSU KAIPTC Women's Executive Leadership Program with the aid of my colleague Flora Devine, attorney and legal counselor to our president of Kennesaw State University, Dr. Daniel Pack, along with Colonel Dr. Emmanuel Kocha, who will be embedded in the Office of Research in my office at KSU next September to begin working on this project.
The yet-to-be-awarded four-story, designed by the General Headquarters Directorate of Engineering Services, should be completed within 2 years. Kifty Andopia, Joy News, Accra.
Senior economist of the Institute of Economic Affairs, Dr. John Kwache, has blamed the redenomination of the Ghana cedi for the high rate of inflation being recorded in recent months. Inflation for June is 15%, the highest in 4 years, having risen consistently from its single-digit days. According to him, the economy was not in a position to support the currency after the exercise.
2007, when we redenominated the currency, and then somehow we decided that we'll make the new Ghana cedi even bigger than $1. You know, I was in America at the time, and then we heard, and I said, but a tiny country like Ghana, you know, you want to create a currency that is bigger than $1. In fact, at that time, there were only two currencies in this world that were of a higher value than $1. And these were the British pound and then the euro. And then we became number 3. Okay, so you did that. And you were bigger than $1. But where are we now? You cannot sustain it. You see, you don't just define a currency that is so huge. I must say that that is part of the very high inflation that we are experiencing in this country. You know, because the way we price things in this country, you know, when you go to the US, things are priced 1.99, 4.99, you know, 4.29. Here, we price things, you know, there's a place that I go for lunch, and every time they are increasing their prices, and it's not like they won't add 2 cedis. It's always jumps of 10 cedis, 20 cedis, 50 cedis. Do you get me? We count in those terms, but the cedi the value is very high.
Well, the comments by Dr. John Kwache, which has generated so much controversy, were first made by former President Jerry John Rawlings. some weeks ago. A lot of analysts have challenged his claim. One such is Dr. Osei Asare, an economist with the University of Ghana. He joins us on the line now with his take on the issue. Good evening to you, Dr. Osei Asare. Fortunately, it appears we have lost Dr. Osei Asare. He was going to counter, or he actually has a counter or counters, or he disagrees with the comments by Dr. John Kwachi. We'll bring you, let's move on to other stories now. The breastfeeding coordinator for the Ghana Health Service, Eunice Saki, has advised all health facilities to encourage mothers to initiate breastfeeding within the first 30 minutes of birth. The Ghana Health Service, she said, has identified breastfeeding of newborns that early as one of the major interventions to reduce neonatal mortality. She disclosed this at a media briefing on the World Breastfeeding Week celebration held in Accra.
Among other benefits, breast milk given within 30 minutes of birth strengthens the immune system of the newborn against most baby-killer infections.
The research shows that at least 1 million babies can be saved if they were to be breastfed within 30 minutes or 1 hour of birth. The earlier you initiate breastfeeding, the better. So it shows that the early initiation saves the baby's lives. There is the colostrum, the yellow milk. Now it's very yellow and very sticky. And normally it's not really much, comes out just some small quantity, but it contains a lot of infective properties. That's the antibodies. That's the first, we say is the baby's first immunization, because it contains a lot of antibodies and it helps protect the baby against diseases. So that is what the colostrum, the first milk that comes out, and it's very important that every baby takes that one in first.
Breastfeeding coordinator for the Ghana Health Service, Eunice Saki, stressed exclusive breastfeeding during the day and night for the first 6 months after childbirth also prevents immediate pregnancy during that period. A report by the Ghana Health Service also indicates breastfeeding has been proven to reduce mothers' risk of getting ovarian and breast cancer.
We're going back onto the phone lines to Dr. Osei Asare on the claims that the redenomination of the Ghana cedi is to blame for the high rate of inflation we recorded in recent months. Good evening to you, Dr. Osei Asare, once again, and thank you for joining us. Now, why do you...
Good evening, Israel.
Yes, why do you disagree with the comments by Dr. John Kwachi?
On this occasion, I think I cannot agree with Dr. Kwachi.
And why?
Because if you look at the redenomination was actually an event. It took place at one point in time, and it isn't a continuous something that has been reoccurring. And therefore, it cannot be, or it cannot explain why we are having inflation today. If you look at what inflation is actually persistent and a continuous rise in the average price level. And therefore, it has to be persistent, it has to be continuous in order for you to be able to qualify it as an inflation. Now, the redenomination was actually to slash out 4 zeros from our currency. And when that happened, at that moment, it brought some a kind of marginal price increases because of the problem with getting smaller denomination changes and all that. So in the attempt to run up, it led to some amount of increment in prices, particularly those at the low prices. However, that was just a one-time event. It couldn't have, or it cannot be used to explain the current level of inflation today. And if you look at the trend in inflation, even somewhere in 2010, 2011, we did have a single-digit inflation. And so, which means that the redenomination was there, yet we had a single-digit inflation. So for me, that cannot be said to be the cause of inflation today. We all know what is causing inflation. Redenomination, I think, is not a factor at all.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Eric Osei Asare. He is with the Economics Department of the University of Ghana. Thank you very much for the insight. We have more business coming up after this break. Do stay tuned.
Matilda Nyakwa Kweku. Inflation in the prices of goods and services produced by industries in Ghana saw a 33.1% increase in June 2014, the highest since 2010. This, the Ghana Statistical Service says, was largely due to the high inflation recorded in the manufacturing and utility subsectors.
The Spinters Road office says it collected 34.85 million Ghana cedis from its regular taxpayers, 3.5 million Ghana cedis, more than it had projected for the half year. Chief Revenue Officer of the Spinters Road office, Daniel Edisi, says another 11.6 million Ghana cedis were collected in one-off tax payments, which makes their performance for the period.
Inflation in the prices of goods and services produced by industries in Ghana saw a 33.1% increase in June 2014. Let's look at that video again.
The highest year-on-year producer price inflation PPI of 33.1% represents a marginal increase over the May 2014 figure, with a monthly inflation rate of 0.7%. Although the utility subsector recorded the highest year-on-year PPI rate of 56.9%, followed by the mining and quarrying subsector with 37.3%, the Ghana Statistical Service explains the manufacturing sector with the least rate of 27.1% contributed greatly to the high PPI.
Manufacturing forms about 2/3. The weight is about 2/3 of the basket. But here we are seeing that the change rate has fallen from 27.5% in May to 27.1% in June. However, because of the weight in the basket, its effect is higher than the effect of the other sectors. And we also know that utility forms about 16% of the basket. So when it's up, it will be high. So when you compare the two, the manufacturing sector accounts for the largest.
The Ghana Statistical Service also expects the PPI of July to go up.
In July, for example, we saw that there were increases in utilities. All things being equal, we'll expect the PPI to go up. But, you know, nothing stays stable, so we cannot be very sure what the direction will be. Whether it will go up or it will go down, it all depends. But if everything remains the same, we all are aware that utility prices went up, so we would expect some slight increments.
The petroleum price index for June 2014 meanwhile declined to 44.7% due to the basis drift effect from the increase in prices of petroleum products.
And despite the difficult economic environment, the Spinters Road Medium Tax Office says it is on course to achieve its end-of-year revenue targets. The optimism of the tax office comes at a time government has had to downgrade its revenue forecasts in the mid-year review of the budget. Chief Revenue Officer of the Spinters Road Office, Daniel Edisi, explains it has so far collected nearly 35 million Ghana cedis between January and June 2014 alone, 40% more than it had projected. He revealed this to Joy News during a tax education seminar for companies located on the Spinters Road in Accra to improve collections.
The Spinters Road office says it collected 34.85 million Ghana cedis from its regular taxpayers, 3.5 million Ghana cedis, more than it had projected for the half year. Chief Revenue Officer of the Spinters Road office, Daniel Edisi, says another 11.6 million Ghana cedis were collected in one-off tax payments, which makes their performance for the period even better.
January to June, our target has been exceeded by 40%, over 40%, a little bit over 40%. So much as you have done over 40%, it is not as if you can do better next time because it contains some kind of outliers, which those payments we are not expecting them in future. Should we deduct those ones, we should be on course over a little over 10%.
To help smoothen the tax collection process, the branch gathered business owners within its jurisdiction and took them through the process of self-assessment as well as the penalties involved should they be found to have evaded tax.
Now, all companies who have been selected to do self-assessment are required to submit their estimated chargeable income about 3 months before the end of the year. If their estimate is less than 90% of the final chargeable income, then they have underestimated and penalties will be imposed. For instance, if the final tax is 100, but the taxes that they have paid is 75, then you see clearly that they have underestimated, and the penalty will be 100 minus 75, which is 25. Then you apply 30% to the 25.
The businesses, some of whom are tax agents for the GRA, were also reminded of their responsibilities to promptly pay up taxes they have withheld during their purchases.
If a company buys an item of stationery and there is a threshold and the value is over 500 Ghana cedis, then the company is required to withhold tax at the rate of 5% and account for it to the Commissioner General. In other words, when the company is making the payment, the company will not pay 100% of the amount, but the company will pay the amount less the withholding tax. At the end of the month, and not later than the 15th day of the following month, the withholding agent must account for all the taxes it has withheld to the Commissioner General. Failure to do that, penalties will be imposed.
The GRA says the nationwide tax education is crucial, as taxpayers should be frequently reminded of their obligations to government.
If you are an individual, you are free. However,
Meanwhile, government statistician Dr. Philomena Nyako says Ghana's gross domestic product is likely to suffer should organized labor
loss in production can significantly reflect on the GDP depending on the proportion of contribution of that sector or subsector to the economy. So we expect to see some decline in the GDP if people go on strike and do not work. But and it's possible to disaggregate, but normally we provide the figures at the sector level, not at the individual activity level. So the information is there, it will be there, all right, it will be provided by the various sectors. And so when we get it, we can quantify how much it has affected us. But for now, we are in no position to tell you.
And that's all for business with me, Matilda Nyakwa-Kweku. Up next is sports.
Well, that's just the best place to begin sports tonight, and it's the Commonwealth game that is currently underway. It has already started the opening ceremony. Glasgow is set to deliver the biggest and best Commonwealth Games in the history of the multi-sports event. About 4,500 athletes from 71 nations will take part in the 20th edition of the Games, which run 3rd August. So this opening ceremony is underway, and as you can see in your shot, you know, the various nations going through the procedure and waving just as it's done there. Ghana's contingent is yet to actually appear in the shot there. We really don't understand why, but of course we're going to see Ghana's contingent. And to just give you that, for the first time we're participating in some, maybe I should say, strange sporting like shooting and track cycling. We have up to 23 members out there to do it for us in terms of the athletes and all. So it's looking very, very good at the moment. As you can see, the Commonwealth Games has begun. The countdown is over, and we're definitely getting to the action later on tonight now. Last season's Ghana Premier League top scorer, Augustine Okra and Asante Kotoko's Abeko Anderson, are among nominees for this season's MTN FA Cup Best Player Award. The MTN FA Cup committee has released nominees for all award categories and fixed August 9th for the ceremony at the State House in Accra.
The FA Cup committee has released a shortlist of various award categories featuring performers like Augustine Okra and Abeku Edison, who starred in the 2013-2014 MTN FA Cup competition. Star performance in the FA Cup competition will be rewarded on August 9 during the award ceremony at the banquet hall of the State House in Accra. Bichim United's Augustine Okra and Edison from Kotoko will battle Gold Stars Elvis Opoku and Issa Yakubu, also of Kotoko, for the award. However, Opoku will face no competition for the top scorer prize after finishing tops with 7 goals. The nomination continues the tradition of officially recognizing the impact made by footballers and clubs who participated in the cup competition. Asante Kotoko won the FA Cup after beating Inter Allies to record their 8th cup success. Other award categories include Defender of the Year, Goalkeeper of the Year, Top Scorer of the Year, Highest Scoring Club, Referee and Assistant Referee of the Year, Coach of the Year, Discovery of the Year, Goal of the Year and Fair Play Award.
Now more on the domestic scene, and Hearts of Oak have ended their search for a substantive head coach as the board settled on ex-Inter Allies coach Herbert Addo after a crunch meeting today. This will be Herbert Addo's second stint in charge of the Phobians and replaces Mohamed Polo at the helm.
Checks by Joy Sports have revealed Hearts of Oak would unveil coach Herbert Addo as their new coach after the board confirmed his appointment at a crucial meeting today. The experienced trainer has been involved in advanced talks to secure his return to the Phobians for the past 2 weeks. Addo is largely credited for helping Inter Allies escape relegation in last season's Premier League when they looked destined to go down. Hearts of Oak have been in the hunt for a new coach following the expiration of the short-term contract of Mohamed Polo at the end of last season. The club has now resolved to hand the job to Herbert Addo on a 2-year contract after briefly assessing their options. He will be earning a monthly salary of 8,000 Ghana cedis.
We get onto international scene before I leave you, and English champions Manchester City are still in the market for new signings to boost their title defence. Despite capturing Fernando, Bakary Sagna, Willy Caballero, manager Pellegrini is not convinced his impressive pool is enough.
Manchester City continued their preparations in the USA ahead of the first of 4 matches in North America as part of their pre-season schedule. City face Sporting Kansas City on Wednesday before more glamorous fixtures against AC Milan, Liverpool and Olympiacos. The Barclays Premier League champions will then return to the UK where they face Arsenal in the Community Shield ahead of the start of their league defence. Manager Manuel Pellegrini has refused to rule out adding to his squad following the arrival of goalkeeper Willy Caballero.
That's your sports. I'm George Adde Jr. Israel joins you with some more. Have a good night.
On to the music scene thanks for TV talent show, but he did not stay long in the limelight. 8 years on, Andy says he's ready and fully prepared to play his role in the industry.
Act concert by upcoming dancehall act episode. After a rather short performance, we caught up with Andy and asked him why he did not last after his breakthrough.
That time I was staying in Kumasi, so I couldn't get the time to promote it in Accra very well to make it a hit. But now I'm in Accra now, so I'm ready to promote all the tracks I have. I have a lot of tracks.
Andy, who is hopeful of landing a management contract, says he has more to offer.
Since it was me alone without any management, it couldn't came out like how I was expecting it. So this time I'm in Accra to get a producer or a manager, then work with him so that we can push the track that all the tracks that I've recorded. Then I'll get somebody to push me. I have more songs every day in and day out. I've been recording, so I have more songs to promote.